So, the PS5 has launched, and if you guys have seen my PS5 unboxing video, you will all know that I was very, and I mean very lucky enough to be able to get a PS5 on launch, because you guys will know that if you have been trying to buy a PS5 for pre-order before launch, it has been a pain in the ass. I mean, it has been a nightmare. All because of scalpers. And before I go on, I just want to say, I saw a particular person on Instagram. I don't remember what their name was. I think someone was actually talking because they were saying, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? There was this guy, I'm not joking, that I got in 10 PS5 consoles. To you, sir, go fuck yourself. To all you scalpers out there, you guys are the scum of humanity, and there are people who actually have been trying to get their hands on a PS5 at $500, but because of you assholes, you have been selling them at what, like $700, $800 to $1,000. I actually saw a guy on eBay selling his for $1,500. Seriously? You suck. But anyways, no. Getting a PS5 was a pain in the ass. I was going everywhere from GameStop, Target, Best Buy. I almost ended up getting one from the PlayStation website because I was invited to try and get one early, but I ended up actually getting one from Walmart. All because, by the way, before I go on, thank you so much to @Wario64 on Twitter. Wario64, he is a affiliate on Twitter that gives deals for video games, video game consoles, and accessories. And if it was not for him, I would not be playing my PS5 right now. So Wario64, thank you so much for constantly giving us all updates when you can buy a console. You have been amazing. If you guys out there are still trying to find a PS5, I'll leave a link in the description below to his Twitter page. My best bet would be to look at his Twitter page and keep a look on his Twitter page for updates, because if it wasn't for him, like I mentioned, I would have not got my PS5. So anyways, thank you so much, Wario. Like I mentioned to you all beforehand, I have been playing my PS5 for a couple of days, and I just wanted to give you all my first impressions of the console that I think so far is pretty damn good. I mean, I do have some issues with it, do not get me wrong, but for the most part, this thing is awesome. In terms of my first impressions, this is what I'll say about the console so far. In terms of the design, this thing looks awesome. And actually, I love the design of it. A lot of people have been saying, as, you know, jokes, like some people are saying it looks like a modem, to which it's a cool router. My buddy Gary was saying it looks like an ice cream sandwich, but hey, that's a cool looking ice cream sandwich, if I may say myself. Partly the reason why I like the design of the PS5 is because, now, I'm not trying to talk shit about the Xbox Series X, because I will get a Series X at some point next year, but the reason why I prefer the PS5 design over the Xbox Series X design is because I think that when it comes to the design of the Xbox Series X, they design it in a way to make it seem like it blends in with your home theater setup, where your PS5, the reason why I like it is because it's a thing that gets your attention right away. Like, it's essentially a thing that gets the center of the attention in the room, just going like, hey guys, what's up? Where the Xbox Series X just blends like a wallflower, essentially. It's a powerful console, do not get me wrong, from what I've seen, but the PS5 is just like, hey guys, what's up? There's also a really cool slot where you can put in the stand, to which my first issue with the system right away is that the stand itself feels like a really cheap hunk of plastic. And I will say this right now, I could put it on its side vertically like this, but I feel like if I did, it would fall over. And even when it's horizontal where it's like this, I still feel like it's not secure. So maybe Sony will come up with a better stand, because this one right now, the one I have on, I just have it on enough and it feels like it could still come off, which is why I have it a bit further on my console, which is really right by my green screen right here. I'm not even kidding. One of my other big issues with the system itself is that when it comes to the actual size, this thing is a beast. Now, my PS4 Pro was able to fit on my little stand just nicely. The PS5, however, just barely fit. Now, the stand itself can just alone fit, and it raises it up just enough, but if it wasn't for the stand, that thing would be floating on top of my console right over here. So you better have enough room to be able to fit that PS5. Otherwise, you're going to have to move around a lot of stuff. But otherwise, I like the design of it quite a bit. Something else that I really like about the console itself is the DualSense, the controller, to which, by the way, I have it right over here, so give me one moment. So this guy is the DualSense controller, and this thing, I gotta say, is really damn cool. My only issue with this thing is that it's a bit bulky, where sometimes it feels like it's a bit too big to fit in your hands with the PS4 controller, which, again, 1 second. So here's the PS4 controller, and the PS4 controller is very, very nice. I love the feel, I love the look to it, and if you guys have noticed within the evolution of the controllers, PS1 through PS4 was pretty similar, minus on the PS4 you had this little touch bar right here, which had this little light bar for the PS4 Pro. But on the PS5 DualSense controller, but it has the same touchpad, but it goes all around with the lights, and depending on the game you're playing, like for example, when it comes to the games that you're playing, I will mention this when it comes to backwards compatibility, by the way. I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2 last night, and when the wanted meter was going on, I noticed that these sides right here were doing white and red flashes, which I thought was really, really cool. Just, I mean, it's something big, but something I think is a nice little touch to it. If you guys have seen the advertisements on the DualSense, it has haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. So basically, the adaptive triggers means that, like, let's say, for example, if you're playing a game like Call of Duty, and we're trying to pull the trigger and fire a gun, you'll actually get a little bit of resistance like you would trying to fire the trigger and a gun in real life. But this controller also, if you guys have seen the advertisements, has a feature called haptic feedback, which I love so much. Like, for example, the first game I played on the PS5 was a game called Astro's Playroom, which is a game that's installed on every single PS5. I thought it was just going to be a tech demo that showcased the features of not the PS5, but the controller itself. It's actually a really fun platformer, and it actually does give you an idea of what the haptic feedback is. Like, for example, if you're playing through a part of a game where you feel a bunch of wind, you actually feel like, depending on the side of the camera that's placed on, like for example, if the wind is going on the right side, you actually feel some feedback on the right side of the controller, and if you're panning the camera around, you'll feel it going all around the controller, which I find to be absolutely amazing. However, I will say this, you can have the coolest looking console and you can have amazing controllers, but what matters the most about a console? Games. And this is what I'll say about the PS5 launch lineup. This is a pretty cool launch lineup. What came with the PS5 here is Astro's Playroom, Bugsnax, to which I will play soon. There's also Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon Souls. Now, I have been playing Astro's Playroom on the PS5, but I got my PS5 with Demon Souls and Spider-Man Miles Morales, the very first 2 games I had, and I gotta say, well done, Sony, for having an amazing launch lineup, because let's be real here, again, not trying to talk crap about the Xbox Series X, but Halo Infinite was supposed to come out on the Series X, not anymore until I think, next year, so bit of a faulty right there. So yes, the launch lineup of the PS5 is great, even though when it comes to exclusive, there's only 2 real exclusives that you can buy, but trust me when I say that Demon Souls and Spider-Man Miles Morales are great games. And not to mention, the PS5 finally has a 4K Blu-ray drive. Why the PS4 Pro didn't have this? Don't know why. Speaking of games, going back to something that I mentioned earlier is backwards compatibility. I have been wanting a PlayStation console that has backwards compatibility with previous games for the longest time. Don't know why the PS4 Pro or even the regular PS4 didn't do that, but with the PS5, 99.99% I think percent of games are backwards compatible with the PS5. I think there's only 10 games you cannot play, and I did test to see if there were games that were upgraded in terms of graphics. First of all, I tested out God of War, to which that was my favorite game of the last decade and my favorite game of 2018. If you play it in 1080p, you can play it up to 60 frames per second, to which it looks beautiful. But there were 2 games in particular that I tried out. They look beautiful. Days Gone, for example, 4K 60 frames, looks great. But Ghost of Tsushima, now we've played this game on the PS5, it's at 4K 60 frames. Ghost of Tsushima was already a beautiful looking game. On the PS5, however, it blows it out of the water on the PS4. It looks beautiful. Now, of course, you want to hear about the graphics. The PS5 looks absolutely incredible. Spider-Man looks absolutely amazing. I'll actually show you guys a clip. I don't know if I can show this off in 4K, but I'll try it anyway. But as you can see Miles Morales walking around this festival, the colors, the lighting, the snow, the details, everything looks absolutely incredible. When it comes to the graphics, I am so 100% certain that we're only scratching the surface of what the PS5 can accomplish. One of my favorite things about the PS5 is the user interface with the main screen. Now, the PS4, the PS3, and the PS2 have all had one, even the PSP. One of my favorite things about the PS4 is that when you're starting up, the main menu screen sounds like a meditation music. Where in the PS5, it legit sounds like you're going into like a whole new world. Really, really cool, by the way, is depending on the game that you have selected on your screen, like let's say, for example, Spider-Man, Demon Souls, Red Dead Redemption, or let's say Resident Evil 7, if you have your cursor selected over one of those games, you'll have a brand new theme show up, and you'll have also a track from the game playing. Like, for example, I'll play you guys a couple different examples. By the way, the loading times on this thing are absolutely amazing. I tried out Red Dead Redemption 2. Typically, if you played on PS4 or PS4 Pro for that matter, it would take probably about maybe 2 minutes to load up, maybe 2.5 minutes max. Red Dead Redemption 2 took at the very most between 45 seconds to a minute, which is drastically faster. In Demon Souls, load times were almost non-existent. Even the same thing for Spider-Man Miles Morales. So yeah, the SSD technology is worth the hype, to say the least. Now, on to my final thing that I'm not too big of a fan of. Now, I know that Sony is going to work on this starting next year, but when it comes to storage itself, now, the PS4 Pro at the very start had like, what? Technically it was 1 terabyte, but if you really looked at it, it was 920 gigs of storage. The PS5, for some reason now, I think this has to do with the SSD in it, but the PS5 only came out with 880 gigs of storage. Although, here's the thing, it says 880 gigs, it's really 600 gigs, which is really small. What I'll say is this right now. When I started off with the PS4, I started off with 500 gigs, and I was able to manage that pretty well, if you ask me. So given how I managed with the PS4, I'm sure I can manage with the PS5, but I know that a lot of people out there are really just groaning about this because, let's be real here, the Series X has over, what, 800 gigs. Technically it's a terabyte. The storage, honestly, I can work with it because I worked with the PS4 regular way earlier when I first got it. I was fine with it. So I'm pretty sure if you had a PS4 and you managed with 500 gigs, you could manage 600 gigs easily. But at the moment, I think the console is really good, and I feel like that over time it'll be even better. But really, at the moment, it is a great console. It's got great features. It's a really fast loading console. It's got, so far, great launch titles. I mean, Spider-Man alone is worth it. It has the 4K Blu-ray drive. The look is really nice, even though it's a bit too big. And even though it's a bit expensive, I would say that if you can go for it, and if you can find one, I would say try and pick it up if you can, because it's a war to find one out there these days. But yeah, so far the PS5 is a great system, and I cannot wait to see how this console evolves over time, and I cannot wait to see more exclusives over time. Alrighty guys, so that is going to do it for my first impressions of the PS5. Please comment down below and let me know, have you guys gotten your hands on the PS5 or are you still waiting? And if you have gotten your hands on the PS5, what do you think of the console? Do you think maybe it's not worth the 500 right now, or do you think it is worth it? Do you think that maybe people should wait until more things come out? Let us know below. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I'm also on Snapchat and Stardust, so if y'all want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all the links and the usernames are in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed my first impressions of the PS5. If so, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell whenever the latest video of mine goes live. By the way, like I mentioned, my review for Spider-Man Miles Morales should be up by Sunday. Anyways, if y'all want to see any of my previous 2 videos, please click right there or there. And of course, until my next video, I will see you guys next time.